Joey J. Ping checking in live, respectmyregion.com. We're back on another episode of the California Cannabis Podcast. Today, brought to you guys by Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs, Infinite Cal for short, our premier partner for all things consumer safety, accurate testing, terpene analysis, R&D for the cannabis industry in California and Michigan. Now, today's episode is a California episode, and today we've got a very special guest, one of my good California homies, Juansi Santaella of E10 Labs. How we doing, Juansi? Good to see you, bro.
Well, it's good, Joey. How are you? I'm doing amazing over here. Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited to get this going.
I'm good, bro. It's a pleasure to have you. You and I hang out doing fun stuff more than we ever do business, professional stuff, although we're often networking and doing businessy stuff too. What you and I excel at is usually the networking and the social dynamics, me, the consumption, you, the business development, the sales, right? And that's where we used to connect back in the day, right? Taco Tuesday, a bunch of different sales efforts when I was at Buddy's Brand and just networking. Wanzi, you've got a very extensive history in cannabis in such a short time. You're a young guy. You've been making moves. You've been working with E10 Labs, I want to say for the majority, if not the entire duration of your cannabis career. And one thing that I always tell people about you is this, how consistent and resilient you are. You are persistent, you are resilient, and you are consistent with your work. And I love that, especially for a young dude in his 20s. Now, Wanzi, tell the people a little bit about E10 Labs. What is it that you guys do? What makes you special?
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate the intro. Love the kind words. Same to you. I mean, you and I, yeah, like you said, we've been friends for a while, and I respect everything that you guys have been doing for the last, 8+ years. For Respect My Region. So thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, so E10 Labs, we are pretty much a technology company that is trying to bring a more healthy and conscious consumption to cannabis. So primarily, we started R&Ding a heat not burn device that
Mhm.
kind of it was a hemp device, right? So it started off with little tiny hemp cigarettes called the Stellos. And my boss, he really wanted to push this product into the market and get something interesting and different out there. And the taste was just honestly not there. And I kept telling him, like, look, dude, this is not something that I think we could push right now. It's not something that people are gonna want and like. And a few years later, he came to me and he was like, "Hey, I think we're ready for the THC side." So came out with our cannabis brand here in California that has done pretty well for us. We launched it, or I guess I should say we debuted it back in March of this year, 2025. And essentially, what we did was we came out with Nano Joints. So Nano Joints essentially are an infused pre roll that we have
Mhm.
decided to cut into 10 pieces. So you're getting the same exact potency, same feeling, same everything as smoking a full pre-roll. But rather than smoking it in 10 minutes, you're actually vaporizing this in about 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes, depending on the session time. So the way you would do that is rather than with a lighter, you have this right here, which we call the Odin. The Odin's
Mhm.
like a super cool device, kind of like an air fryer, circulating hot air through it.
Yeah, it's got
Very,
that.
very
It's got that internal oven technology that y'all be
exactly.
utilizing to like balance the vaporization and things.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're just really trying to stand out from all the other products out on the shelves. A lot of people they got the same thing going, and we technically do have an infused pre roll because we've identified that that is a growing market. About 60% of pre rolls are sold are infused, and so we just wanted to capitalize on that and give people the ability to have a little bit of a better alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think there's. I mean, one of the butt tender homies that comes through and sells here hella weed. I know he's one of the top ones at Catalyst. Y'all sell hella infused pre rolls every day, right? Just non fucking stop, right? And it's like they very clearly have not enough, not just this dispensary, but there's not enough alternatives besides just smoking something. It's, you know what I mean? I do
Right.
like infused pre rolls. Do I like the botanical flavored ones, all that kind of stuff all the time? Not necessarily. Uh, I'll be back. You're good. You're good. Take that, bro. Um, you think about like an infused pre-roll. What makes it great? The potency. What makes it great? The flavor. The high. Maybe it's the full flower. Maybe it's the rosin or whatever it is. For the
Sure.
nano joints, is it a botanical terpene experience? Is it a cannabis extract experience? Elaborate on the actual device in your hand and the nano joint there as well.
Absolutely. So, let me duck down. As you can see on the top shelf right there, we have our 6 SKUs that we offer, as well as the three Tyson SKUs right there. So we have a
Okay.
collaboration with Tyson 2.0. On our end, for our six SKUs, we have three of them that are botanical terpenes and three of them that are cannabis derived, right?
Hmm.
So we want to be able to tap into both markets. I personally, I'm a big nicotine vapor myself. I hope
Really?
that quits at some point, and I can look back at this podcast in a few years and laugh that that's what I just said.
That
But
you're admitting it
I,
live that you are actually addicted to nicotine and it's
I don't
okay.
know
Go
what
ahead.
I don't know what that was, but
That
yeah,
was me. That was me. That was me ripping a nicotine vape. That was my sound.
yeah. All right, it's very silent. But anyway,
Any excuse to hit
yeah.
it.
No, but so I like those like really intense fruity flavors, right? And so
Mhm.
I will always gravitate towards that the our sun drenched moscato is delicious. Our I really like our blueberry, our lychee. Like those SKUs for me are very tasty and they really go a long way. So I tend to gravitate towards those. Now we
Interesting.
have some really great cannabis derived ones like our Soj Haze, our Pink Runts. They're delicious, right? So those guys, like, yeah, and then
Yeah, because we need the
takes it all.
weed stuff too. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I need the
absolutely.
strains that I'm used to seeing, that I'm used to getting in smoke form or pre roll form, right? Or flat smoke form, flower form.
Yeah,
Um, so when it translates to this other technology, I need the flavors that I'm used to still seeing, and I think that's important. It sounds like you guys have done that through some of the flavor profiles. Some of these names, I mean, even we have the gentleman on Facebook here commenting. It sounds tasty. Some of these flavors you're saying undoubtedly sound delicious. Do you have? I mean, you only have so many flavors in the SKUs. Would you be willing to grab some of those items and do a quick show and tell for us, Swansea?
yeah, absolutely.
That's
So
awesome. So if you could, let's start with the Tyson collab up there on, if you wouldn't mind, just to get that one out the way, because that to me, that's the knockout punch. I'm not a huge Tyson fan. Everybody has their reasons. I think as an athlete, he did what he did and is one of the goats in that area. But historically, I haven't really seen his Hall of Fameness translate into the flower or the products. But I know you guys have been very excited about this. And last year, MJ BizCon, remember those the little mini vaporizer rosins? Those things were smackers. So tell me a little bit about what gets you excited about this product, Lonzy. Why are you so stoked on this one?
on the Tyson collaboration, I am very excited just because, our demographic of customers, they range from a very old crowd, right? Those people that are, still hold kin to that to the pre-roll experience, and so they want to continue, but sometimes they can't really smoke that pre-roll because it's a little bit harsher on their lungs or on their throat. And so we cater to an older crowd as well as a very tech forward younger crowd as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Tyson really helps bridge that gap between both of those crowds. With people growing up seeing Mike Tyson fighting in all these legendary fights before
Tyson's
my
he's
time.
literally on he's used on streetwear. Like his image is licensed. He will stand the
Exactly.
test of time
Exactly.
regardless of whatever has happened over the duration of his career, right? And I think
Sure.
that's something to be said about this partnership. And like what you're saying, it definitely transcends the ages.
Absolutely. And I think you know, with his stuff, people see, people my age, they're like Mike Tyson's cool, whatever. But then he fights Jake Paul last year, right? And that kind of brings a little bit more of a relevance to my age
Relatability,
demographic.
relatability. It was
Exactly. Versus like, people like my parents, they're like, yeah, we remember when Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear. Like,
right,
so
right.
we wanted to come out with something as our first collaboration that was really gonna bridge the gap. Um, and
Cool.
so they blessed us with three strains. This one right here, Gelato 44, is their indica.
Okay.
So it's basically they already have this one out across pre rolls, gummies, things like that. And then we have the Tangy Hook, which is the sativa, also out there. And then Mike's Meringue. Mike's Meringue, typically, it's a hybrid. I mostly always go towards the indicas, but Mike's Meringue, for whatever reason, gives me that flavor where I'm like, yeah, this is it, right? So kind of going back to our conversation a little bit earlier, I would say both of these, obviously the Tangy Hook and the Gelato 44, are more of the cannabis derived terpenes,
Yeah.
with Mike's Meringue being the botanical derived, right?
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, when you're Mike Tyson, you're not. It's not the brand isn't about only cannabis or only this. It's about delivering a consistent knockout experience, and knockout can be potency, or it can just be really, really good at whatever it's trying to deliver. So the question then becomes for me: is this a knockout product from a potency standpoint after you hit it, or is this a knockout product because it's consistently delivering exactly what it's intended to do?
I would say both. So knockout product in terms of deliverability, I would say with our sticks, you're always gonna get that consistent hit. It's never gonna the like you have a nice rolled joint there, and I know you roll that yourself, so we're not gonna have issues with that. But sometimes, you take a joint out of the pack and you
Yeah,
might
the,
have
the
some notes.
manufacturer could cause, or the hardware can sometimes cause issues or inconsistencies.
Exactly. Yeah. Like one of the biggest things that we see with joints is the canoe, right? Big
Yeah.
canoe happens, or you get to the very end of the joint and it starts to clog a little bit.
Yeah,
You're
some
like
of the
not getting.
material goes to waste that you pay for.
Yeah. So with this, we're using a little bit of flour, but you're still getting just the same potency and same high, same everything as you would smoking a regular one, right? But when I say potency, I like to say it's a little bit more potent because the Tyson collaboration is starting at around 56% THC.
Wow.
Yeah. So you do the math there, and you're looking at an
Even with
easy.
the 10% variance, and usually down is how that variance works. We're still
Yeah,
talking 46%. That's a Stizzy 40 product in terms of potency all day. Jeter potency
absolutely,
product all day.
most definitely. And the cool thing about that is I like to say it in milligrams as well. So Tyson's about 50 milligrams THC
Hmm.
per stick, right? Versus
Which,
with ours, a little bit less potent. We're looking at about I want to say uh,
well, it's going to
it's
depend on the one, right? Each individual strain or
that's true.
flavor or whatever.
Yeah, I'm talking about like our most potent. We're looking at like 44 milligrams of THC after everything's said and done, combust or not combusted, but heated up, right? Because you lose a lot of cannabinoids when you burn.
Now this is
So
great because I would not. There's a volcano over here at the lounge, and I noticed there was a volcano over at the lounge we were at Nuwu.
sure.
They had two or three volcanoes there, and so it's like you think about vaporizers. Like what Wanzi, what is the most popular vaporizer in cannabis of all time?
I
It's
was
the
the volcano.
volcano or PAX, right?
Oh, that's a great. I think a
Or
handheld.
maybe volcano and PAX.
Yeah. So you see a lot of people, especially when I'm talking to them, more like a customer appreciation days, things like that. They're like, oh yeah, like it's kind of like similar to the volcano. Like I never
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hear
yeah. But you
PAX.
wouldn't infuse that bowl of the volcano, though. We would never do that. You sure wouldn't take botanical
No,
terpenes and do your own
you
version
would
of
not.
that. And you wouldn't take cannabis terpenes because that I mean, a consumer is supposed to make that, no, and then mix that. We also don't take rosin and we don't take wax or crumble and put it on there either. It's just not something they've encouraged to do, or that we were trained to do, or that the
Yeah,
culture has been communicated that we should be doing with the volcano. To my knowledge, you guys with this dedicated device would be the only dedicated infused flower vaporizing device
that's
that the
correct.
customer doesn't have to infuse it themselves. It comes pre-made through these collaborations. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, anyone can tell you that, I one of the things that I don't like to do is put down any other brands, right? But what I can say about these other products that vaporize cannabis, the taste isn't really there. And that's not their fault at all. It is just because vaporizing flower doesn't taste good. Like that's just a known fact.
Good is subjective. It doesn't taste as palatable or represent
Thank
the
you.
flavors
Thank you.
that you're combusting or that you're vaporizing.
Yeah, thank you. So, correct. It doesn't translate like you would smoking a joint, smoking a bong
Dry
versus,
hit, smoke the joint tastes like
yeah,
the dry hit most of the time, unless the weed wasn't
exactly.
cure right, and then it'll
Correct.
taste bad.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
your guys' case, these are pre-done servings. They're pre-infused. It's measured out by chemists and other experienced expert manufacturers. This is real deal, as they say, a real deal Holyfield. This is that real deal.
Yep.
Tyson, if it's good enough for Tyson and their team, if it's good enough for you guys, and I think you're in 30 or 40 dispensaries now. Is that correct?
We're closer to the 30 side, but
Closer to
hoping
the
to
30 side
expand
of the
as soon as
dispensaries
possible.
across California. And Wanzi, California's market is not easy to sell to,
Nope.
right? So we talked a little bit about the Tyson and the Nano Joint. We talked a little bit about yours. Can you go ahead and pull up the Nano Joint again and show that a little bit up close to the camera, the one you were using? Yeah, perfect. Those are beautiful.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
yeah, folks,
so
it does look like a mini cigarette, but you're not lighting this. You're putting it
exactly.
in the vaporizer device, and that is heating it up at an appropriate, we'll call it connectivity,
Mhm.
and creating a really really consistent experience. And those are infused. That is not just flour in there,
Exactly. Yeah. So we infuse it with a little bit of diamonds and obviously a little bit of terpenes.
which
But
is
yeah,
normal. People are vaping liquid diamonds with botanical terpenes like crazy. That's a normal
abs-
thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're not doing anything out of the ordinary. I think what really makes us stand out is what we're putting all of this into, right? So, like you said, a lot of people they vape diamonds, terpenes into a sauce, great, amazing, and then other people, like the Stizzy 40s or any other like infused pre rolls.
It's all
Sometimes they
over a
have,
blunt. It's all over a blunt, or it's all over a
yeah,
joint.
exactly. So we're just
Keyword
really
all
trying,
over, not inside. All
yeah,
over.
exactly. So we're just trying to bring that same consistency, but in a different product.
Yeah. Less carcinogens when we're vaping, aka none, depending on the temperature and the science and the terps and all these different things that go into it, which that's your guys' world, that's your guys' realm. Okay, cool. Let's continue on. What are some of the other products you got, Wanzi?
Right now, this is kind of what we are focusing on. We are going to launch a new development. So we want to build a whole ecosystem around our Odin. This is our Odin device. Just
Odin.
so yes, the reason why we decided to call it Odin was because that's the god of war. This means war. We are trying to bring something new to the industry. Cut through all that noise, the bullshit, the boringness of things.
Does that
And
Odin only use the nano joints, or does it have another chamber for flower or something?
No, so it's all one chamber,
Okay.
same stick style technology, but what we are looking to develop pretty soon is something that we're calling the DAP stick. Now, the DAP stick is a very similar concept. However, rather than being a tube that is like a paper tube like this, we're looking at all glass. A little bit of rosin at the bottom, so just the same
Yep.
amount as you would put into like your e-rig. Same
Now it's
system
not
plug.
perfected yet by any means, but folks, I can confirm on an RMR exclusive that I definitely enjoyed this, and one of my engineer friends was also recently introduced to it as well, and it blew his mind. Now, granted, he's one of those engineers and guys that invents things and makes stuff. Some of his stuff ended up in space. Some of his other stuff didn't end up performing so great in the market over time. So it's one of those things where you gotta take everything from everybody with a grain of salt. Now, I do trust this man with my life, and I would trust him with money to invent something incredible. And but his reaction, that smile, and just the aha moment that you gave him, Wanzi, that meant more than your usual person, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And it also tasted good. Like all the cannabis boxes that we care about, it did check all those off, and it was cool to use it in such a party casual environment that we were in and watch that stand up to the test. You know what I mean? Wanzi, what do those devices that you had, that Nano Joint and the Odin, what
Yep.
does that look like that you also vape, but it's not cannabis?
What do you mean by that? Can you
It
rephrase
looks
that?
like it looks like nicotine vapes, but the ones from Asia.
These guys right here.
That does. But with the Nano Joint in it, it looks like the nicotine vapes that I see people from Japan and Asia vaping. Like that. When it's like that,
Yeah. So
it's
kind
very
of,
discreet.
yeah, a very similar like look for sure. I would say it's a bit different technology. Just you gotta
Naturally.
be
Naturally.
different, right? Like our own patents and stuff. Like we gotta be able to have something different out there. But yeah, we noticed that a lot of people in Asia and Europe and other places in the world, this is how they consume their tobacco. They don't necessarily look to light or combust anymore. This is more like a future tech, and so we wanted to bring that to cannabis. We identified that there is nothing like this on the market here in America for cannabis, and so we wanted to be the first. You know,
I love that.
those
I love that.
yeah,
I love that. That's huge, and it's to be intentional and to really focus on that. I think that's huge. You know, to be able to get that accuracy of the potency testing down, and to be able to use these different types of terpenes to create the experience you want to deliver. Collaborations with the Tyson Group and these other partners and your own products. I think that's huge. Wanzi, I got a bunch more questions for you, but since we're about halfway through, I want to make sure I take a moment to shout out our podcast sponsor, Infinite Cal. These guys, Wanzi, are one of the most respected labs in the game. Anybody out there in California or in Michigan, if you're a licensed cannabis producer, you guys want more consistent terpene information, analytics, cannabinoids, the minors, the majors, the THC, the CBD. If you just feel like you might be getting shafted by your current lab, these guys are consistent. They deliver accurate data, and they are fast. And more important than anybody else, this is a group you can trust. And so, big shout out to the whole team there at Infinite Cal for empowering today's episode. Now, Wanzi. All right, here we go. My one of my big questions for you guys is: it's at the end of the year. Do we have any new strains coming out? Is there any new flavors or the terp? Is there anything new coming out before the end of the year? You have a couple weeks before Christmas. Is there a last minute drop, or do we have the products that we get for the year? And And if so, is there anything new coming in 26, like the dab stick, for example? Is there a date on that, maybe?
Yeah. So in terms of new nano joints, I would say for the remainder of this month. I mean, we only have about what 4 weeks or so before the end of the month. So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna stick to the six that we have plus the three Tyson. But I do know that
Cool.
we're slated for another production run first week of January, and that will be bringing in a couple of new SKUs. I know the one that I can confirm and can release today is green crack. That one we noticed that a lot of people across the stores, our partners, have been asking for that one specifically. I think that green crack is has been around since the medical days. That is a great strain that we could hone in on and be able to get more of the market. Once they see that on the shelves, they're like, okay, I know.
Yeah, it's a
I have
familiar
an
name.
idea of what that could taste like, what that would be like, what it would feel like, and so we know for a fact that it will translate into our device.
Now you are the head of the retail expansion. You're selling to California dispensaries, which means you got to get the email, you got to call, we got to pull up in within reason, right, of distance,
Yep.
right? We got to do the sample drop. It's got to perform. We got to follow up. Got to bug them just a little bit to stay on their top of mind if we can. I mean, we're not Stizzy or Jeter over here where they, the crazy big orders. Remember what we talked about recently?
Yes, sir.
And it's tough to be in those positions where we're not getting paid first. Shit, sometimes it sucks when we're not even getting paid last. We gotta wait. They just don't got it. So with you guys, Wanzi, this is a 2025 end of the year update. Describe your experience trying to earn business from California dispensaries in 25. What's that been like? What's it been like this whole year trying to do this?
Really, it is
And
a it
not
is
just the rant and the complaint. Hit me with some nitty gritty. What have you been doing? Shed some light on the efforts.
Yeah, it's a completely different rodeo for me, right? When I first started with E10 Labs, I started at our sister company S10 Labs about 4.5 years ago, and that was
Mm-hmm.
primarily focusing on selling cartridge hardware and packaging to brands, right? That took me all over the world. It was very easy. Hey, I think I have some good hardware for you that you guys may like. Cool, send it over for testing. All right, great. 10 weeks later, I got a bunch of orders going through, right? Here in cannabis, it's a whole nother thing, right? Like it's like you said, I gotta call the store. Half the stores, they're oh yeah, sure, come through with samples, it's our buyer, I'm the buyer, whatever it is, or some like they gatekeep. So it's very different experience for me. But I
Yeah.
personally really like it a lot. My
It
team
is
is
a
always
challenge and
asking,
it takes a hustle. You really got to be persistent.
yeah, my team's always asking like, why are you doing this and not the S10 side? So much easier, so much more profitable. Yes, but I get to talk to somebody in person every single day, 3 times a day, 4 times, depending on how many stores I'm going into. Ideally,
Facts.
five, right? And that to me is a lot more valuable than sending a few emails and selling 100,000 carts at a time. Like I would rather get one store than sell 100,000 carts.
It does. It's a different kind of fulfilling and gratification, if you would.
Yeah.
That hustle is real. I definitely, with buddies, had a territory, worked the territory, was told no, got to the point where I opened every one I could, and then it was just no's. How do you overcome the no's? Have you convinced a no into a yes in those 30 stores that you've opened, my friend?
Unfortunately, a lot more than a lot more no's started off than yeses, right? I mean, there are a few people that holy shit, this technology is amazing. I'll take it right here, right now. Like this is amazing. And then some others are like, I don't know, like this might not fit well with my customers. We don't know. And what I always tell them is like, look, just because you don't think that it's gonna work doesn't mean it's not gonna work, right? Like there, you have to carry something in your store for everybody. People are gonna come in and they don't necessarily know that we exist, right?
I
Until
mean,
they see us.
Wanzi, there's no other group doing a health conscious infused pre roll experience.
No,
You there. I mean, even the what is that glass thing called? It's the chillum, right? I mean,
yeah,
people can infuse a chillum and shrink wrap it in plastic and put that in a tube all day, and it's not going to sell. Chillums have already had their chance, and they don't really move units like that.
no, you
So,
gotta combust that.
and it's a combustible as well. It's still not. I mean, although it's a healthier alternative because it's glass versus maybe paper burning, I guess I would say we're still talking about an additional level of healthier alternative in this situation by having it vaporize and having no combustion at all. And I think that's super interesting. Wanti, that machine that you guys have at your guys' trade shows, that smoking one, What
The
does
lung
that
machine.
do? And yeah, what does that do and represent those lungs? And like, can you explain some of the science? And like, it's one thing to see that, but what does it mean to me, who I do smoke 3, 5 to 7 joints a day? What
Sure.
what what is realistically that machine proving or helping people to understand and see?
Yeah, that machine isn't there like to do anything other than showcase kind of like what is going on side by side in a glass format. What your lungs are experiencing in your throat while you're using a heat not burn device, kind of like ours, or
Hmm.
a traditional combustible joint, right? So basically, I wish I was able to show it, but essentially, think of two tubes. One you put a joint in, the other one you put your heat not burn device. They're both kind of like with the vacuum sucking air. That air travels into these two chambers. It shows how thick both smokes are. One of them is very light and the other one is like very dark, right? So
Yeah.
that darkness is obviously like that like
And it gets
yellowish
darker
smoke.
if it's a blunt or has more
Yeah.
tobacco and more chemicals and all the things.
Exactly, yeah. And then it gets collected in these two cotton pads where that's essentially what your lungs like, your lungs are absorbing a lot. That's exactly what your lungs would look like. One's full of
Wow.
tar, the other one is just like that clean cotton look.
How gross. You know what I'm saying?
It's gross, but at the end of the day, I can only show people so much, and I can only convince them so much. They're always gonna go back to like that traditional combustion, and that's okay.
I'm always gonna smoke weed until my doctor says, "Yo, you should stop," and then I'm gonna go harder on whatever else I'm allowed to do, which will naturally probably cause me to get diabetes because that'll be gummies and gummies and more gummies when I'm older or something.
Yeah,
There goes my teeth. Um, Cannabis isn't an experience, man. It's a wonderful experience. Both the industry, the hustle, the grind, trying to make a living out of it. Wanzi, what's your favorite thing about working at E10 Labs? Why should if someone were to if someone were to buy and support you because they rock with you and they rock with your decision and to rock with this product and things, and they were like, what do you love about E10 Labs? Why do you rock this product? You know what I'm saying? What would you say?
I would honestly say the reason why I like working for E10 Labs is because I'm building something from the ground up, right? Like this is not something that's out, and I came into this job, and it's like, okay, cool. Like here's your territory, here's your accounts. Like people already know what it is. Like figure it out from there. This is
Yeah.
something completely different where there is no right or wrong, because we don't know. Like I don't know if dropping a bunch of samples off everywhere and like hoping that like the spray and pray method, hoping people get back to me if that works versus just targeting like very strategic areas. Obviously, I've been targeting more strategic areas because I think that that would work, but I don't know. Like at the end of the day, maybe I should be spraying and praying. Like so, I really like that aspect of being able to build something. Say that I was there from the inception of the thought, and I also really like our team. Our team is a very small team, but we are just a bunch of doers. We're doers, dreamers, and dabbers is what our website says,
Who's
right?
you
Like,
got the other sales homie that I know? What's his name? Is it Kevin?
no, Michael.
Michael. He looks like a
Yeah,
Kevin, but I know he's a Michael. So Michael, I love Charles,
yeah,
Mackenzie's fam now, and I start to
exactly.
see some of the other people more and more. That girl that was behind the bar, she was
Yeah,
really wonderful.
Brett's
Uh,
amazing. She's our
yeah,
honest
yeah,
like
yeah. There's
our
just you
godsend.
guys definitely have this like fam aspect, and it's really cool to be able to be included in that at the level that we are, and to have grown the relationship from me just shit talking, Mackenzie and Charles and you to now getting to do it, and it's like Joey, I hear you talking shit, but like really though, I need you to hit this dab stick and really tell me what you think. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
being able to be included on some of those levels now, it really means a lot, and I appreciate you all for rocking with us and just for doing what you do in the industry. You guys have supported a number of our events. I believe our 13-year anniversary, our 14-year anniversary. Um, you know, always show mad love to my guy, the Slice over here. Big shout out to the Slice making
sure.
the off-camera cameo today here in LA. But Wanzi, in terms of those strains and those SKUs, there's only 6 of them. So you already went through the Gelato 44, the Tyson's meringue one. What was
Mhm.
that third one from Tyson? And then hit me
Uh,
with the 3 from you guys.
so we got under Tyson, we have Mike's Meringue, the
Mike's
hybrid, Gelato
meringue,
44, the Indica, and then sour Tangy Hook, which
Tangy
is
Hook, that
a play on
Tangy
sour tangy.
Hook.
Exactly. So that's obviously the sativa, and then on our end we have Sun Drenched Moscato and Blueberry are indicas. Then we have Soj Haze and Peach Rings as our sativas. And then our
Cool.
hybrids is Lychee and Pink Runts.
Wow. Yeah, those are really big, flavorful ones. And then even though you have not just like even though like it's bad, but although you have the botanical terp, the fun flavors for you guys, which would naturally just be like infused joints, if you would, with the flavors. I
Yeah.
like the pink runts inclusion there. You know what I'm saying? I think that one to me really stands out. I would get a flavor and I'd get the pink runts to see what's up. You feel me?
Dude,
That'd
the
be the
Pink Runts is fire.
yeah, that would be the natural like habit for me to do that. Um, okay, so with you, you know, you've shared that you're like attacking certain regions and stuff. You know, you obviously had the ode in there. You showed us the device. Could you go ahead because I don't have one with me? Could you go ahead and actually hit it? And
Yeah.
no bullshit, bro. You're the homie, but I know you work with the company and shit. And we doing this to collaborate and to really work together on this project. But like, I want you to really be honest about like when you hit that what you taste. Like I want people to feel like they can see you thinking. Okay,
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying?
absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and do this real quick because I seen you almost put it in your mouth a few times to rip it. So I
Yeah.
know that you like it. I can see you
Yeah.
trying to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a big bong rip guy my whole life, and my whole life for the last fucking 8 years that I've been smoking. I'm only 26 years old, but I really think that this is a great hybrid in between both the joint and the bong rip. Like you're getting a lot of clouds, and you're also like getting that potency that the
Yeah.
joint has to offer. So right now I'm opening up a fresh pack. This is our lychee.
Okay.
So I want to give you guys the full
It looks just
experience.
like a normal pack, a normal joint pack of a tin, right? Just for joints. A beautiful
Exactly.
packaging outside with the window to see the tin. I like the sleekness, the E10 11.
Yes.
Then you
Smell
got the
it.
pack right there. Ah, lychee. Okay,
Yeah.
so from the
This smells
smell when you
delicious.
open it, is it very aromatic? Like, can you smell the lychee now?
Instantly.
Instantly.
Instantly fills the room with lychee smell. It honestly tastes like okay, so our company is very Asian.
You're a nicotine vapor. Does that make it more
Yeah.
attractive in this instance?
For me, yeah. And like what I was gonna say is our company's quite Asian, so we always have like these little lychee candies or like different kinds of candies out, and like it tastes really good comparatively.
Yeah, that's not a common flavor across all the vape brands, typical SKUs.
Right. Yeah. I think I want to say St. Ides has a lychee drink, and it's very comparable. I really appreciate the translation of once you get like an actual fruit out in the world to like a cannabis product, like
Interesting.
it does well. So yeah, essentially once you open up the pack, you're met with these 10 joints right here,
Yep.
and then with the 10 joints, you have a couple of arrows right there, and you
And you put
basically
is that's the side you put it in, not the other side?
correct, yeah. So arrow side down into the hole,
Okay.
and then
Oh,
you
that
hit
makes
this
sense
button.
because like the mouthpiece is what you're gonna rip the other top. So it's like you're
Correct.
if it was like if I were to say that's like a cigarette, right? That would be the filter on the end, and you're
The
sticking it
filter.
in.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Cool, cool,
So
cool,
then
cool. All right.
we pretty much
Oh,
just hold down this button right here and it begins to preheat.
yeah.
So we'll see how fast that preheats. It's very quickly, about 10-15 seconds. I personally like to hit it on the medium temperature on the 2 minute session. So that's giving you the most flavor as well as a lot of good smoke.
And that
I
two
shouldn't say
minute
smoke.
session is that the whole nano joint?
Correct. Yeah. So I'll show
Okay.
you after. So it's ready to go. And you get that
Yeah,
nice
that's a
feel.
cloud. Does that
Yeah.
feel more like vaporizer, like vape, or does it feel more like flower vape right now? Like what style of smoke is that?
I would say a little bit of both. It's kind of like I'm getting like the taste and clouds of a regular vape pen, but I'm also getting like the consistency and the real underlying tones of a dryer vaporizer as well.
Interesting. So it has that earthiness of the flower still intact, whereas you
Absolutely.
definitely you lose that in the oil form in
Yeah,
vape.
most definitely. And honestly, like even with smoking a joint, like after 2-3 hits, like it starts to all kind of taste the same. Versus with this, you're getting that consistency all the time.
It's consistent all the way through. So you've ripped that 2 or 3 times. You feel that it doesn't taste any more or less burnt like a joint would.
No.
Interesting. Yeah, that's one of my least favorite things about traditional joints would be the fact that I spend all this money on an infused product, higher THC, whatever the diamonds are. Oftentimes they're a little bit wet depending on how fresh they are.
Yeah.
And that's been an issue for the clogging, like you're saying. I hate wasting money on weed that I can't smoke. That sucks. And then also too, it is frustrating from like a, it's weird. I don't want to sound like a weirdo and say it's stressful to have the joint not work, but like if you're stressed out and the joint makes your day one more problem because the joint's not working, that might be enough for me to fucking send. You know what I'm saying? Send it to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna crash out over a joint not working, but I know some people would if that was their last money. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, no,
Rightfully
most definitely.
so. Pain, stress, last money, like that thing would if that thing didn't work, but that works all the way through. I think that's fantastic. And it's
And
the
then
2 minutes. Is the 2 minutes up already, or is that still
yeah,
going now?
no, so just shut off. And essentially this is kind of what it would look like after.
Okay, can you block your face out and kind of with just your hand? Perfect, thank you. Not that I don't want to see your face, but okay, so it's just a minorly heated up.
Yeah, and then I will unroll it for you right there, and it's pretty much spent, right? And then there's not going to be any like any
Interesting. So is
any
that ash or is that just vaped end product?
no ash.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's just
How much
spent.
is the dose in there from a weight standpoint?
Yeah.
Like,
So the whole pack is 1.7 grams. And then the each stick obviously divided by 10 is 0.17. So it sounds like a lot. I mean, sorry, it sounds like a little
that's
bit, but
very little.
you're getting a lot for what that is. Um, think about what you would put into like your bong or your bowl. That's about 0.17. Just like a pinch of weed, right? But with the bong, take one hit, it's done. With this, you saw me ripping that thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you and I are casually speaking, so like I'm not consistently like smoking on it like I would
Yeah,
like if
like
I was by
like
myself.
with an all-in-one vape, I could just be sitting here,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, like you obviously are talking, so you didn't do that, but you would have been able to do that for the full 2 minutes. Would that have caused it to end sooner?
No. It's on a timer. So whatever you can get in that timer is what you're gonna get. Right. So if you're gonna get
Will there
25
are
rips,
there
great.
is that the only size in terms of that 1.7 gram? Are there bigger packs, or is that coming down the road?
That is really the only size because so it comes down to a lot of things, right? You want to make sure that there's enough where you're actually going to be able to enjoy it, but you don't want to have a lot where you feel like, okay, I did this for 2.5, maybe even 4 minutes, and I feel like I didn't get through all of it, right?
I just know that like I sesh, I do 3 to 6 joints a day. That's
Sure.
morning, work, and night, and I obviously do 1 to 2 podcasts 5 days a week. So it's just like the numbers for me. I would need a lot of those in order to just to have that replace my joint smoking habit or to have a health thing. Say the doctor requires me to stop just smoking in general.
Hmm.
Let's say I've been smoking cigarettes for years, and then my weed consumption now that I'm in the industry goes up, and now I got a problem, right? This would
Yeah.
be the alternative to turn to maintain the potency element. But from a numbers perspective, I'd have to buy a lot of those cases, right? So it's like,
I don't think
what
so.
first? Well, for just my consumption, that just that is
I know.
naturally the case. Now,
Yeah.
but for a standard person, what is the price generally? Those are priced at that 10 pack.
Yeah. Let me answer the first question or your first little comment. So I think it comes down to you. I know your tolerance is extremely high, right? Like you're constantly smoking, but at the end of the day, like you're only gonna feel a certain high. Like you're not gonna like exceed that. So what I invite you to do is the next time you see each other is I'm gonna like let you smoke one full, and then from there you can tell me like,
Yeah, if I'm
oh,
high off a 0.17, I don't need to smoke more. I mean, I just
that's what I'm
roll a
saying.
big joint, so we smoke the whole joint. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have the fixation where like you want to continue to smoke something and like you want to have that in your hand and in your mouth and all that. That's one thing. But the potency side, you're gonna get just as high from smoking that entire pre-roll in 0.17 grams of this little guy right here.
Which flavors from the Tyson one were the cannabis terpenes again? Because that would be the ones I gravitate towards naturally.
Gelato 44 and the Tangy Hook. So I'll have
Yeah,
everything
see,
ready for you to try.
if that tangy gave me energy and taste like that orange creaminess, and then it's infused with the cannabis terps, like yeah, that shit will have me not necessarily zooted like stoned, but it should
No.
be able to, you know what I mean, be able to get that energy and that creativity going, which is even an example like what I'm doing right now would be perfect for that.
Yeah.
Let's get that set up, Wanzi. I'd love to check that out because I know exactly what I feel like smoking a joint or two on the episode. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting to do a couple 2 minute like to do 3 sessions over the course of an episode and
Yeah.
see if I'm still sitting here like I'm high, like the way I feel right now. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
And one of the other things that that I'm interested in bringing up is going back to my core comment about just like how much I would need from like a quantity standpoint. I know one of the top SKUs over from one of the homies brands in Michigan is a 50 joint pack. So I
Mhm.
just like it would be sick to be able to get uh 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 like those are 10 packs already, so let's just say 30 pack and have the indica sativa hybrid pack in like a bigger
Yeah,
bag, and just because that's
sure.
just 3 stickers in a bigger bag, I think in Cali at the
Yeah,
end of the
no,
day.
it's easy.
But like just having something like that, so that way it's like, okay, cool, yeah, this is your 30-day user pack. Any medical customer coming in that doesn't want to that like is trying to smoke less weed or doesn't want to smoke weed, but they still want the high THC shit, this is the perfect replacement. You know what I'm
Yeah, and
saying?
what's cool about the size of ours is
We
we
literally
can
had a
sell.
budtender in here, Swansea, 15, 20 minutes ago that said they sell a shit ton of fucking infused pre rolls.
Exactly. And what's cool about the size of ours is that we can, because it's so small, we can sell a large quantity in Mylar bags, right? So if we wanted to sell a half ounce, let's say, that's
Yeah,
like, that's a lot of
it's a
sticks.
lot of
That's
point
over
one
100
sevens. It's a
sticks.
lot of .17s.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's something that's definitely in the works for, I'm not too sure, but I know
Come on,
2026 when
Charles.
this,
You hear I'm asking for it. But here's the thing, though. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be tested in the market.
yeah,
You, Wanzi, I'm sure you're going to talk with your partners, and we always are going to give them, and do our best to give them what they can and ask for. We have a good question here from Denny B. Clark on Facebook. How long does the high last? That's a hard question, right, Wanzi? Because everyone's different on every high, and every strain is different for everybody. You might say that's an excuse or a cop out. That's what we're trained to say. That's what we're
yeah,
supposed to say. Ultimately,
exactly.
it's going to depend. I smoke infused pre rolls onesie, and we put them out oftentimes. It doesn't get us high, right? So it's like, what is your honest opinion? Does how do you feel? What is it? How long does it last when it's one of those infused ones with the cannabis terps, or how long does it feel like when it's one of the that Mike's meringue, for example,
Sure.
the botanical one?
So kind of going back to a question that you had asked earlier about the price of this, we priced this at or MSRP is $35, right? So
Perfect.
for $35, we want to make sure that we are consistently giving the people the same amount of or that same energy,
Yeah.
high, all of that stuff, right?
For the
So
record, folks, that's less than $4 a session.
yeah, exactly.
350 a
Exactly.
session.
Yeah. And there are brands out there on the shelves that sell slightly less cannabis for a little bit more and in the infused category.
Yeah,
So I invite.
those big infused joints, the cannons and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah, there's some cannons that I think they're sold in the three pack,
They never
1.5
taste good.
gram,
They never taste good.
1.5 grams for $38, right? When we're at 1.7 grams for 35, and you get consistent taste. I would say that's great. But as far as a high lasts, for me personally, one of these will probably last me 30-40 minutes of being high. I have an extremely high tolerance, so I will probably gravitate towards,
That's the
I'll never
same as my
smoke.
joint. It's the same as my
Yeah,
joint.
dude, exactly. Like, but the problem with me is I will never just smoke one and then like, all right, I'm good for like the next 40 minutes. Like within 20 minutes, just because of the fixation or just because I have it around, like I'll probably have another one in my hand, right? So it's really hard for me to gauge. But I would say like my mother, for example, she does not smoke at all. I had her back at Easter. She tried one puff and she was high for a couple of hours, right? So it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
really
yeah.
depends on who you are and
Of
what your
course.
consumption.
Yeah, I mean, high potency for somebody that doesn't smoke that kind of stuff is going to be high potency. If you smoke a lot of pre rolls, your body, your cannabinoid system is used to receiving these cannabinoids, whether they're cannabis or botanical or not. It's not going to make a difference. You might get a certain high with this cannabinoid and this set of cannabis terpenes versus this botanical set. They're going to be different based on the strain, anyways. But all of that said, Wanzi, this has been a great episode, man. I've learned so much today about what you've been working on and obviously the products. It's super cool to see you guys continue to innovate. We're at the end of the year. What's your message to the people in terms of what to expect from E10 and these products going forward?
Yeah, I would just say just keep an eye out for us at your local dispensary. I'm coming in strong. I'm planning to expand as much as I can within the last little bit of this year and into 2026. Once we have those DAP sticks launched, it's gonna go crazy. So from there, you'll see us everywhere. Super excited to be in as many stores as we can, pushing this product, pushing this message. I think one thing I really want to leave you guys with is just know that just because this is new and cannabis is very unknown, we will be around forever. We're an extremely lucky company to have secured a lot of funding from different partners and stuff. So we will be around. Don't you worry. A lot of people, they're hesitant about buying something that might not be around in a few years, right? And so my promise to you guys is we will be there.
I love that. Juansi coming through with the consistency, representing E10 Labs. Big shout out to the entire team there, man. I love what they do. They do great work,
Thank you.
innovation, community focused. You guys have been sponsoring THC and Techno in Los Angeles to get
Yes,
your
sir.
guys' products out there and to just be out there in the community. And I think that's just absolutely wonderful. Big shout out to your team for what they're doing. Folks, we're at the end of the episode, so I want to make sure we do a big shout out to, again, Infinite Cal for providing the sponsorship on the episode. They do support licensed producers with accurate analytics, terpene insights, potency verification, contamination screening, fast turnaround times, and they lead up to consumer safety programs. Echo in California, and I forget the name of the one in Michigan, but you guys can go look at our previous episodes with the guest Josh Sweeter, Swider, to go learn more about that. Wanzi, it's always great to hang out with you, man. Big shout out to you. Thank you again for
Likewise,
doing
brother.
the episode. Everybody watching, we appreciate y'all. Be sure to like, follow,
Thank
subscribe.
you.
I'm Joey J. Ping. That's Wanzi. Make sure you guys tap in E10 Labs. Wanzi, what's your website? Last thing before we get him out of here.
Yeah, we got two. So we have e10labs.com and then nano-joint.com. Both of them have
Nano-joint.com.
exactly. And both of them will have a store locator at the bottom of our page where you can come find us.
Big fire. Let them know. Coming in hot. E1011 Labs, Nano Joint, Dab Stick, the future of extract consumption and flower infusion vaporization. Big time. And thank you, Wanzi. I love you guys. We'll see you on the
Thank
next
you.
episode, folks. I love you guys.